It was a defining image of the Kursk incursion, North Korean soldiers unprepared for the grim realities of the war in Ukraine, fanning out across a bleak battlefield, only to be picked off by kamikaze drones. Pyongyang sent an estimated 11,000 troops to fight for Russia, but they were ill-prepared and ill-equipped. They lacked armoured vehicles or any experience of drone warfare. In January, they were withdrawn from the front line temporarily because they were losing so many men. And North Korea was forced to send 3,000 reinforcements to cover its initial losses. Now, South Korea's intelligence agency has provided new information on how many deaths and injuries they suffered. It estimates that 4,700 North Korean soldiers became casualties during the battle for Kursk. Of those, 600 were killed in action, fighting alongside the Russians. A small number of North Korean troops were also taken prisoner, but many others reportedly killed themselves rather than be captured, fearing there would be reprisals against their families at home. The intelligence agency also claims that the bodies of the dead soldiers were cremated in Kursk before being transported back to North Korea. This week, Pyongyang confirmed for the first time that it did send combat troops to fight in Kursk. On North Korean TV, a military commander said they'd helped liberate the region from what he called neo-Nazis. While on Russian TV, General Gerasimov, the head of Russia's military, praised their professionalism. Previously, the Kremlin had dismissed reports of their involvement as fake. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed a comprehensive strategic partnership treaty with Vladimir Putin last year, and Pyongyang has shipped large quantities of ordnance to Russia, including an estimated 4 million artillery shells and rockets worth billions of dollars, plus more than 100 Koksan self-propelled guns. Ukraine claims 70% of the munitions used by Russian artillery batteries are now coming from North Korea. Kim Jong-un has also provided Moscow with ballistic missiles, including KN-23s, which have a warhead of up to 1 ton. President Zelensky claims Russia used one of these in a recent attack on Kyiv, in which 12 people died. In return for sending troops and supplying weapons, Pyongyang has received technical assistance from the Russians on spy satellites, drones, and air defense systems. Experts say the combat capability of North Korean troops has increased significantly as they've become used to different types of weaponry. Vladimir Putin claims Kursk has now been entirely liberated of Ukrainian troops and has praised what he called the heroism of the North Koreans. But Kyiv has denied its forces have been entirely driven out and says they're still operating in some districts of the region. Analysts say Pyongyang has so far sent the Russians large quantities of outdated and surplus ammunition, but that could change to more sophisticated weaponry, systems North Korea is keen to test in real combat the longer the war goes on. At the same time, Russian media reports suggest North Korea is considering deploying its troops to occupied Ukrainian territories to fight against Ukrainian forces in what would be another escalation of Pyongyang's involvement in this war. Simon Newton, BFBS Forces News. Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.